Undefeated.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this brother right here. Because he's back.
He's back.
And you saw an interview with him on TalkSport.
Yeah.
And I got to speak to the fact he sounds different. Is that I think I feel like I'm not trying to turn this into an analysis of a therapy session, but there's that thing that he did speak to when it comes to trying to maintain this image and keep up to earn legends' respect. But he's like, when I lost my belts, yeah, I felt like they turned their back on me. So now it's bun them, man. And I'm like, all right, now you're sounding like a free person.
Yeah. Yeah. He's gone on a big journey. I think I do like the fact that he's acknowledged that he obviously trying to get better every single fight, which that's great. As humans, we should all be trying to develop at every moment in our lives. So you can tell that he's trying to learn in the ring. He's trying to do these things. He doesn't want to just, I don't know where, there's a little part that there's like, I don't want to call it misguided, but there's a little part that it's okay to be just that. You know, he talks about great fighters. He says, well, other great fighters didn't just have raw power. They were skilled and they were this and they were that, right? Like, sometimes you can just do something really well. You know that? And I don't know why, like, in his thinking, he believes that's a bad thing. Sometimes you're just really good at this one thing. You're a great ender. Like, so some of the skills, maybe he hasn't put enough respect on the skills that he had prior to this guy was into, you know, when you talk about people that can end fights, he ends fights really well. Like, he's a great finisher. Some people don't know how to finish a fight, and that's a skill, right? Yes, it's not the shot is not the footwork and everything is not as clean, but when it comes to closing the night out, you can do that. And it's like it's some people are not able to identify the good things that they do in their rawness. Are you with me? And I think that's where he not like lost his way, but then because even the interview was putting on him said, "Raw, like if you were that same physical, aggressive guy, I believe some of your fights could have looked different." And he said, "Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, and you know, but then luckily with the link up with Derek, was it Derek James? Is the new trainer's name? I believe that's trainer's name. It seems like he's now in a great space where bun the noise. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be quite aggressive. I'm getting old school in my approach, in my training, and we should see the dividends from this."
Yeah, and speaking to your point about looking back on that, I was just going to say that it's like he doesn't look back on those performances in the same way we do.
Yeah,
he looks back on the Klitschko era of him fighting and thinks, yeah, but I was really just scrapping with my man. Like, and it's one of those things where you can't discount what that is, you know, for the man in the moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've had shows like on stand-up level, back in the day, where I've gone on completely unprepared. Like, no preparation. I wrote nothing specific for today. I got out and I was in a bad mood and I decided to talk about something and it killed. And I've come back off stage thinking, well, that worked. That was all right. Like, but I won't be able to recreate that because I don't know what I did. I walked on in an altered state and something came out and I won't be able to recreate that to guarantee that again. Now, you put that into a boxing match and you say, "Rah, he hit me in the fight early, game plan went out the window, and I just started scrapping my man." You cut how that felt in the moment to him. He probably walks away from that fight thinking, "I was mad still." That was, do you know what I mean? Because remember, he took a big lick from Klitschko and went down first time in his career.
Yeah.
He got up and he's like, "Okay, now I'm fighting on vibes. I'm fighting on vibes alone, and I genuinely don't know." So when he comes out of that fight, he thinks, "I never want to feel like that again." Like, I was driving. You ever driven a car the fastest you've ever driven for the first time?
Yeah.
And remember how that felt?
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
So for you to get out that car that day and your man will go, "Oh, good driver, you know."
Yeah.
I like how you do your thing. And you're just still like, yeah, nah. So, and it was the first time I ever really felt like that about how him feeling in the moment. You start thinking, he probably came out of that fight and thought, "I never want to drive like that again. I want to always know what I'm doing." So then you look for the performances after that. Your Joseph Parker, your Carlos Takam, the Povetkin, and you start to see that That's the remnants of what took place. I want to be in control of it at all
Yeah.
times.
Oh, that's a good take.
Now, the problem with that is that with boxing, you can't be in control like that. And the problem that control freaks have in life is that they struggle to look forward at what may happen unless they can guarantee it. Right. And you start to see it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Because I'll be real, I've got people personal close to me who are control freaks that struggle to see things how I see things because I'm not a control freak. I'm very much a once I get on stage, I'll know what I'll figure it out there. I plan any one of my specials that I've done, I've planned 85% of the show. And the rest of it, I leave room for the magic that I don't know is going to happen yet.
Yeah.
And that's come from trust and experience and over time, knowing that there's elements I won't be able to dictate and guarantee.
And that
So
is great. I like that you did that, right? And this is what I'm saying. I'm glad that you said that. Trust, experience, and knowing, right? And the problem with AJ that I felt that is in the past that maybe he's fixed now is he didn't trust the magic. You know, the magic that he should have trusted. He was too busy listening to the outside noises of who he is, pumped up, this, that, and the other. Can't what do you call it? No, bro, you can fight. Like the magic is there. You're like
bro.
The magic is there. It's in you. Like we've seen it ourselves. Like that's why we went into so many fights with the feeling of, oh, you definitely win this fight. There's no way that kid should beat you. Right now, I do like the adjustments because I think everyone in life should be trying to adjust and get better, but not at the detriment of themselves, you know. So for instance, even if you talk about he just went so way left in that first fight, you could tell he tried to become a true skilled boxer. Yeah, it was all the way left. You know what I mean? So you talk about 85%. This guy just said, you know what?
Yep.
This the splits for this one
100%
in terms of what I used to be and what I'm gonna be right now is different. And it messed him up. You know, it messed him up in the thingy fight, in the second fight. It was better in terms of, you know what, the percentages were better in terms of you could tell when he was aggressive and trying to put his foot down, but then at the same time he was trying to be slick in there. The only thing is you went up against someone that is better. You know what I mean? You went out with someone that's just better than you, right? But then now what I'm excited about with AJ is because he still has this entitlement to fight and he wants to do it. You can see him now rediscovering form, but this Franklin fight is so key. This is a key fight because AJ won. He has to look better than Dillian looked against him, and he has to let us know that don't change the channel, stay invested. This is what he has to prove to us in this fight coming up.
100%, bro. And it's mad. I've got so many similarities to my stand-up journey. That's very much like this in terms of when I first started stand-up, right? I was a high energy performer, like absolute. I made sure I was getting mad before I got on stage because I needed that energy to be on 10 as soon as I come out. And that's how I would just perform. Over time, as I got to be a better writer, I started to stand still on certain points because I just knew that this material would go. And whenever it's time to perform a show, and I remember being directed by my mum on my first special, she was like, when you find yourself standing still, she goes, you're not a standstill like them old school performers, stand still, smoke a cigarette. And that's not really your vibe. Keep your energy and harness it. Every joke needs to make you feel like you're working, you're sweating, you're going to work. So that is how I because you start thinking, no, but that's when I was younger, I was like that, and now I need to be like this, and now and you put that in boxing. That's my I need to jab and technically, no, bro, cook them, go out there and cook them.
You're still skilled in this. You're still skilled in this moment, and you're still in control, but still cook with the intensity
Keep that you fire. So I think what is happening with him is that where it's maturing, and where today as a comic, I know my pen is strong. I also know how I can absolutely breathe fire onto this thing. So AJ's on that thing of I know that fire is there. Everyone keeps talking, oh, just go out there and be on smoke. I'm like, no, I know how to be on smoke. I just don't want to not know what I'm doing when I'm on smoke. I don't want to be in there just as an angry brother in the ring going hell for level. I want to know what I'm doing whilst going for it. Now, there's an element of over-analysis, but it's that thing of like, now you look at him and you think, you get a snapshot into the mentality and say, he's starting to get that balance right, and we may see the best of him going forward.
Something then, just on the other side, the flip side of this, Because again, it's about approval and looking for opinions, right? There was a long time in my growing up, I was waiting for my dad. My dad used to tell me, I only acknowledge the kids that go to uni. Wow.
Jeez.
It's a wild statement. He goes,
Yeah.
well, I only acknowledge the kids that go to uni, right? I was not uni bound, right? And it was like, I was for a long time, I was literally searching for my dad to say, hey, he did that shit. You know what I mean? In a certain way, like, son, you know what I mean?
I deserve some accolade.
I was waiting.
You do deserve some accolade.
I was waiting for that moment, right? And I was making decisions for him to do that.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized while it's well, I was trying and I couldn't find the line. I just didn't understand where the thing was, and I was trying to fit into how he needed me to be for it to work.
Mm-hmm,
But I was never gonna be what he needed me to be. So
That's
I had
right.
to switch and say, well, I don't care what you think about me. I'm doing this. Now I don't know. Well, I feel I've got my dad's accolades, right? But then it's not about my dad, is the problem. There's a freedom that steps off when I let go and I weren't trying to be who he wanted me to be, and I'm just gonna be me free like this. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm more potent, more dangerous. I'm all the things that you need to be. I am. Now he does look at me like, Ross, son, you can hold it down. Like, I know financially you can. If you need to look after this family, you will. You know what I mean? Well, the wider family. So he now sees that. But then again, I was in search of something that I already had within me, but I was just focused on his view of me, and it had to change. And it's like, you know what? Forget his view of me. This is my view of myself. And I believe AJ is now hopefully stepping into this thing where he's not trying to big up all to the legends. He's not, because he's a student of the game and he respects everyone in the game. That's the one thing you can say about him. This guy is saying, you know what? It's on my terms. I'm in control. I'm my mouthpiece. I'm this. And like me, this is who I am. And this is how I'm going to do it going forward. And I think that's refreshing. I think that's a more dangerous man. But 100%. All of this is the talk. He has to prove on the night. We need to see a good performance against Franklin. There's no what you call it. It needs to not even like what you call it. It needs to be clearer than the Dillian performance. It has to be someone that's saying, you know what? I've gone all these rounds with Usyk. I'm actually a better fighter. And while he beat me, none of you lot can talk to me. That's what we need to see. So again, time will tell on that one.
Time will tell, boy.
Cheers.